Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Stacked card at Monmouth Park on Saturday. One of the feature races is the Grade 3 Salvator Mile for older horses. Our coverage is presented by DRFTV. Will Justify take the crown, Mike? He doesn't know if Justify will take the crown, but what we do know is you can join the Belmont Stakes action. He's the only one that he's the only one that could. You can join the Belmont Stakes action with free cash. That's what we do know. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Salvator Mile Stakes. We do have some interesting horses entered, one of them from the Todd Pletcher barn. That's the number 4 Chip Leader. And Chip Leader is yet to win on dirt, but he has certainly shown an affinity for the surface. His last race, the Ben Alai, was a good performance. I thought he ended up down on the deeper inside footing late in the game, and maybe that caught him. Once he put away the other horse, he immediately had to deal with another one. It was an okay performance, but when he got run down by Rated R Superstar at that distance, it doesn't make me think this horse is a Rated R Superstar.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, I hear what you're saying. This horse's form is obviously pretty good. He seems like more of a turf and synthetic horse than a dirt horse to me. He ran fine last time, but I don't know what his excuse really was in that race as the favorite. We'll see if he can do a little bit better here. The cut back to a mile from the 1 1/8, maybe that works for this horse, but I don't know. He's 3-1 on the morning line. Pretty uninteresting at that price.
He's been on the lead in his last 6 races. Suffice it to say, he's not making the lead in the Grade 3 Salvator Mile because the number 2 Shaft of Light is what's known as wicked fast, and Timeform US agrees. As we toss up the pace projector, they've got Shaft of Light outfooting Chip Leader to the early lead, and Shaft of Light just ran a hole in the wind last time out in that 2-turn 7-furlong sprint, the Russell Road. Then again, as the 3-10 favor over a track that he really enjoys, he's supposed to win that day. Plus, he got absolutely loose on the lead.
Yeah, and listen, maybe he'll get loose on the lead here as he stretches out to a mile. We'll see what happens. I have way too many because I know it's Navarro and it's Monmouth, and it can tend to be a speed favoring track. And Navarro, I guess he wins 75% of his races at Monmouth. I don't know, man. I have some real concerns about this horse going a 2-turn mile against these. This is a pretty good field. Maybe he'll get to the front. He'll wire this field. I can't take him at one of the shorter prices in this race, Dan. I'm afraid of him, but I'm not betting him.
Great to see Paige McKinney, that old war horse, back in the entries. He's won 21 of 55 tries, has been in the exacta 36 times, has banked $1.8 million. And last time out comes out of a pretty live edition of the Hardacre Mile. Not only did Irish Warcry, who flopped in that race, come back to win the Pimlico Special, Mr. Jordan came back to win with a 95 buyer. Third finisher Tommy Macho came back to earn a 96 buyer, went third in the Westchester. Paige McKinney, I thought, got jammed up a little bit in traffic turning into the stretch. He had to alter course down towards the inside, and then he lacked the punch. That was a 1-turn mile. I like him better around 2 turns.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, and I really like his race 2 starts back. Where
that was the old Paige McKinney.
It sort of felt like he had maybe lost his form a little bit at the end of last year. It was nice to see him just sort of turn things completely around 2 starts back in the Old Hickory. It wasn't as strong a field as this one, but he really ran that day. You're right, that was the old Paige McKinney there, and I like him getting back around 2 turns here, and I like him a little bit in this race too. I basically had it down to 2 horses in here, and he's one of them.
Now, while we like Paige McKinney slightly better at 2 turns than 1, we kind of like the 7 great stuff at 1 turn at shorter distances, and he's going to now stretch out for David Jacobson. This is a horse that when you give him the right pace setup sprinting, he's going to come with a strong run. He does not have a lot of early speed. And last time out in the Run Happy Stakes, a race that was kind of dominated up front, he just really didn't have much of a chance. That being said, 2 turns at a mile, boy, I think that's stretching it a little bit. I think it's Jacobson taking a shot saying, we probably can't win the True North on Belmont Stakes Day. Let's try to find another spot.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. And he's got this horse in good form, too. I mean, take out I don't know why they decided to give him a run on turf 2 starts back. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you sort of just put a line through that race and don't worry about it, he's just been in really good form, this horse. I don't love him at a 2-turn mile, but there's a chance. And listen, he's a horse, as you point out, he wants to sit it out and make 1 run. There's a chance this pace gets heated in here, and he has something to run at the end.
Fast pace would also help the number 1 Papa Zulu, who benefited from strong fractions to win his most recent start around 2 turns at Parks. He was 16-1 that day against inferior competition, and he's really going to have to run a lifetime best.
Yeah, he's just a little slow, especially in this form cycle for his new trainer. He hasn't been able to get back to his he's got some faster races on the go back, and I actually think this horse is okay. He was pretty good when Buff Bradley had him as a big closing router. That's what he'll get here. He'll be able to run at the end, but his recent speed figures don't make him competitive in here.
Indian Guide, the number 5, got the win for the Navarro barn last time out, but he was claimed away from the Navarro barn after that race. I thought that was a solid enough performance. That pace was pretty solid over a sloppy track. But again, he's supposed to be 20 claimers at even money with that trip.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's just stepping into a different world here off the claim, back on 13 days. I guess if you're going to claim from Navarro, you might as well run him back as quickly as you can. Maybe this was the only spot they could find.
A lot worse you could do than back a Jersey bred on the Jersey Shore. Let's take a look at our top picks in the Grade 3 Salvator Mile. We're going to go with the gray son of Holy Bull, Sunny Ridge. And this horse is surprisingly good when he's good. You know, he won the Withers. He was briefly on the Triple Crown Trail. He was actually 3rd in the Haskell. He ran some nice races in the Stymie and the Jazzle at Aqueduct. I thought his Brooklyn was a really nice performance, and unfortunately it kind of knocked him out for the rest of the year. Let's talk about his return to the races off that long layoff. He was tracking 3 wide throughout and was wired that day by Pioneer Spirit. It was his first race off the bench, and you can argue maybe he was a short horse and will prove second time back. But I know you're not a big Pioneer Spirit fan. Were you disappointed that Sunny Ridge didn't seal that deal?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it was a relatively long layoff, and it almost feels like when you go back and watch the replay, I read Ortiz, and I'm sure Jason Service had a little bit of a plan there. This horse was off 10 months. He broke really well from the gate, and I just took a hold of this horse. He rated him almost right from the start, like they didn't want him for it. I think they might have been giving him a race there. He still had a chance to win it. I still wish he had won it. He was just sort of grinding away through the stretch, and at the end of the day, he just couldn't get by at the end. It wasn't a terrible performance. It wasn't a great one either. I'm hoping he takes a step forward. Maybe he needed that race.
I like his tactical speed. I think he can sit behind the 2 and the 4. I like the 2-turn mile. I obviously like the second off the layoff angle. We might not like the price. He's 5-2 on the morning line. What would you take? How would you play him?
I wouldn't mind him being in that 5-2, 3-1 range. I would take that. We'll see how they wind up betting. Now, I could bet him at around that price, and I'm going to use him with Paige McKay. They're my 2 horses.
Mike's going 3, 6, 1, and 2. I'm going 3, 2, 6, and 4 in the Grade 3 Salvator Mile, race number 11 at Monmouth on Saturday. Again, you can play it from home with your very new DRF Bets account. DRF.com/bet. Join the Belmont Stakes action in a couple of weeks with free cash and approximate post time for the mile. 5:58 Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.